Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my video, and today I'm going to be doing sort of an intro and overview of a brand new build that I'm doing. Now this guy will be a super ultralight 5-inch build, hopefully around the 170 gram dry mark. So this video is just going to be a quick intro of all the parts I've used and just some real quick discussion on each of them, and then this will be followed up later by a specific build video for this craft. And now I'm honestly not expecting to get too much out of this build in terms of flying it for racing or for fun. I'm just really interested in seeing what it's going to be like if you get something that light still using a 5-inch propeller, using much smaller motors than usual. So it's more of just something to test out the waters with an ultralight build here. So let's get right into it and check out the frame. Okay, so here is the frame, and this one's pretty much a 5-inch Tooth Fairy from Kebab FPV, Bob Rugi, and I'm not really sure if this frame is released or it's going to be released, but he was kind enough to let me have the files to get these cut. I actually got these arms cut from CNC Madness. They are just double arms. The arms are paired together here, and they are 3mm thick right there, and they do offer the sort of 12x12 14xx size mounting holes. Then it has the two little nubs out here to protect on impact. This frame's really interesting just due to the size of it. There's pretty much very minimum hardware. Everything on here is M2. These standoffs here are actually nylon, and a screw goes all the way up to the top, and the other screw meets it. So it is kind of weak and kind of bendy. Hopefully you can see I can move it around, but when you have something this light, it's probably not going to matter as much, as well as you're not going to be building something like this and hoping it to be a durable tank. At least hope you're not. In the middle here, there actually are no holes to mount your FC on the plate, so there's just a little TPU pad that just comes across here, which has your 20x20 mounting holes that you screw right onto there. So your stack will be fully soft mounted, so that's pretty cool. And other than that, you have your two little antenna tube holes that come out the back for something like a forever tube to stick in there. Yeah, I think these ones fit. You just have to squeeze them in there to hold your antennas up, which should work just fine. But other than that, really simplistic frame. Obviously, we're going to be wanting to have something super light here. I was looking around for an ultralight frame, and this is what I came up with from Bob here. So the frame itself weighs 33.5 grams, so that is definitely a very nice light frame. But I think if this does come out, I think Bob mentioned that they're going to have the FC mounting on this plate instead of this little TPU pad, as well as if you use shorter screws there, you could probably save another gram or two. But I'm perfectly happy with 34 grams for the frame weight there. So next up, let's discuss the motors. The ones I got here are the T-Motor F20 version 2. These are, you can see the F22. These are 1408 2800 kV motors. Now these are actually what inspired and caused this whole build, because I asked T-Motor to send me some of the F20, these motors, but in the 3250 kV to try out on my 4-inch quad to swap them in, but they sent me the wrong kV on accident. So I'm building an entire quad because they got the wrong kV. So these are pretty interesting, cool little motors. They are the new generation of their F20 line. It does have a hollow shaft, not all the way through here, but it'll focus. It does have a hollow shaft. I'm pretty sure it's steel, although it might be aluminum. I'm not quite sure. Then on the bottom, we do have a full bottom design with a tiny little C-clip on there. And this is a 1408 motor, and it is quite interesting. If you can see, I don't know if it's going to show up. The air gap is actually quite large. Hopefully if you can look up at the top, that top magnet right there, the air gap is actually quite large on this motor. And the magnets are not curved. And if we compare it to something like this is the Brother Hobby 1407 3600 kV motor. This is a popular 3/4-inch motor and a popular motor used for ultralight 5-inch builds. It's pretty similar with the air gap. The air gap definitely is very big on here compared to 5-inch motors. However, it's a little bit tighter than this T-Motor, and the magnets are curved on here. So this one is super notchy on the outside. It's very hard to turn by hand, and this one is nice and smooth. So I'm hoping that will work in our advantage here by these pulling a little bit less amps and being easier on the motor, as well as it is a 1408, so the stator is slightly bigger instead of the 1407, and overall the profile is quite a bit smaller. There's less wasted material there, so that's nice. And if we get a quick weight on it, just comes with the lock nut and 2 sets of screws, one longer, one shorter, depending on what you need. And this comes in at a 16-gram motor, so not quite as light as I would like. And the Brother Hobby comes in at 15.3. Oh, this one does have slightly shorter wires right there. And speaking of the wires, they're actually just, it's going to be really close if I size this up to where they're going into the ESC. I don't think that they're going to fit. I'm probably going to have to extend them a few millimeters. So that's really disappointing and just going to be annoying. So T-Motor, if you're watching, hopefully I'd like you to add, 20 centimeters, or 20 millimeters more to these, and that'd be no problem for most of your builds, even up to a 5-inch. So that's the motors that we're going to be using. Next up is the flight control stack, and now it's actually a flight controller ESC and VTX combo. This is, the HGLRC XJB F428. Actually used this guy in this quad, however it didn't have the VTX back then. This combo now has the VTX with it. And I went for the 28 amp version. There is a 40 amp version now. However, with this small of a build, super light, you definitely don't need that. And this was like 25 bucks cheaper, so I got this version. This is basically just a little BLHeli S 4-in-1 ESC right here. Very, very small, 20 by 20. And it has these pins right there that plug into the flight controller, which is a little F4 flight controller that has Betaflight OSD on it with a bunch of different outputs, a couple of different voltage regulators. Just plugs in right together, and all the M2 mounting hardware comes in the box with it, as well as this is the little VTX that it comes with. And you can see you have your separate button. I'm actually not sure if this guy has smart audio or not, although for me it doesn't really matter too much because I pretty much never end up using it. However, looking at the outputs on the back of the VTX here to the left there, it says OSD RX, so I'm assuming that means you can change it through your OSD. And unfortunately this guy does not just pin into the flight controller. However, I'm sure the wiring is going to be very simple, and that will just stack like that. Very nice on top. And this little setup does come with a 35 volt 1000 microfarad cap. So that's pretty nice because something this small, running these larger props, I do want a little bit of extra capacitors on there, and if it comes with it, I'm going to use it, so just convenient that they include it. And since I was using this same setup here on the 4-inch, I'm expecting no issues from it whatsoever, so that should be perfectly fine. Next up for the receiver, I'll just be using this little micro guy. This is the FrSky R-XSR. I did a separate video review on this. Just peel that sticker off. Just get a closer look at it up top. So this is just a tiny, tiny full range diversity FrSky receiver that only weighs 1 gram. So definitely a good thing to put in there. And it does have the built-in telemetry that'll tell you your RSSI is low and critical, which is super nice to have in such a small package. So definitely going to be using that. For the camera, we have a Foxeer Micro Aero Pro. This is the new Pro version. I'm actually not sure what is different in the Pro version besides the colors. I think they might have changed some of the settings from stock to be a little bit better, but it's just the same as the regular Foxeer Aero, Micro Aero that I've been running. It just takes 5 to 40 volts input, so your main input lead, your voltage there, has a nice 2.1 millimeter lens. It shows the voltage and your name on screen. However, since this flight controller does have an OSD built in, we will not be needing to use that. And it's only $20, so it's definitely one of the best value cameras on the market, and I find the image is just as good as the run cam for me, so I definitely use that. Although I might be using a Micro Predator. I have a couple of those, more of those coming, depending on if I build this before then or not. But this camera itself is actually a little bit lighter than the Predator due to the lens, a couple gram or so, so I might be using it. So it only weighs 5.8 grams, so that's going to be a very nice solution. And it just mounts up front with these sort of little TPU prints that screws on to the side like this, and then this part slides down over the standoff and holds the camera in the middle, just like that. So for the props I'm going to be using, this is some of a questionable choice. I'm going to be using the HQ 5x5x2 V1S, so these are 50-50 dual blades, and you might be concerned right away with the 50 pitch. It is an aggressive prop. However, it is a dual blade and it is HQ V1S, which are generally very low current drawing props or very low load props on your system. So I'm hoping this will be good enough. If not, I can go to like a GemFan 5040, these super old style props that are really trash. However, on a setup like this, it might work, but I'm hoping that these will work well. They should be durable. And with the low 2800 kV on a 1408 size stator, hopefully this will have enough power to turn this prop with the extremely low weight that we're hopefully going to be having. Oh, that looks funny there. Look at that, how big that is. So if these don't work out, I can change to something else, but hopefully they do. I bought a few sets of them to try out, and let me know if you've used these on a similar ultralight setup and how you went with them. So lastly, for the battery, I'll just be using this guy. This is the Pyrodrone 1000 milliamp hour 4S, 95C battery. I actually just picked these up from Pyroflip on February 5th. These are about 20 bucks each, so definitely a pretty good value. And I was running these on my 4-inch because my other 1000 milliamp hour batteries, 4S, just completely puffed. And I put these on there, and the difference in power is very, very noticeable. Definitely liking these so far. They are a tad bit heavy. They are supposedly graphene, so they are 144.9 grams. So it definitely is going to be the heaviest part of this quad, basically. However, I can switch to some 4S 850 milliamp hour packs if I need to, but I didn't want to be stressing the packs too much, so I really wanted to be able to haul on the throttle, so the 1000 should be able to take it just fine. Alright, if we just bring up the scale one more time, put everything on it all at once, hopefully get somewhat of an idea of the weight that we're going to be looking at in total. Obviously, going to be adding a lot of solder, trimming things different ways, but just thought it'd be neat to sort of put stuff on here and see what we get. Hopefully it's somewhere around 170 grams. So we have that there. And we need our props. Have the bag on there, but should do just fine. So it's only 138 grams there, but we do need to add all the solder, obviously, in different wire connections, so we're probably going to be close to 150, 170 grams. Obviously, oh, and then we do need the prop nuts there. Actually, what's that bring it to? That's only one of them, so we're probably going to, yeah, about 170 grams dry, so that's definitely not a bad weight. I'm definitely looking forward to this. It's just so funny thinking of running a 5-inch prop on this tiny little 1408 motor. So yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. I'd just like to give a quick thanks to T-Motor for sending these little F20 version 2s out to try, Foxeer for the Foxeer Micro Aero Pro, and a thanks once again to Bob Ruge for letting me try out this neat little ultralight frame, and thanks to my own debit card for purchasing the rest of this stuff myself. So yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. There will be links down below to everything I showed here if you're interested in checking that out, as well as, once again, there will be a full build video of this coming soon, and then hopefully some flight videos if it doesn't just completely blow up when I arm. So yeah, that was the end of the video. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.